Now, the moving story of one of the first Allied servicemen to die while defending Norway in 1940 is told in a documentary that airs on ABC TV tonight.
A Very Short War tells the story of the Australian pilot Cliff Carpenter, whose plane was shot down by German fighters on a mission to Oslo. Now, in a moment, we'll be speaking to Mr. Carpenter's nephew, Bill Young, who created and directed the documentary. But first, let's take a look.
In the tail, there are 4 machine guns that fire at the same time. And as they're in a power-operated turret, you just can't miss. If anyone is foolish enough to come at us from horizontal behind, when he's about half a mile away, he'd get blown into the water suddenly by our slipstream. If he dives on us from the top, there are 2 gunners in the middle that could get him before he knew what had happened. And if he attacks from the front gunner can get him. So you see, it's a pretty good job as this kind of job goes.
A Very Short War's director Bill Young joins us from Sydney. Bill, good morning to you. You are this man's nephew. Cliff had a pretty colourful career even before joining the services.
Yes, hi Michael. Yes, no, he certainly did. He was one of these chaps who became obsessed with aviation, and one of his great claims to fame for us was that he built his first aeroplane at the age of 19 in a suburban garage on a road in North Sydney. And he then went on and formed a flying circus and was barnstorming Western New South Wales and North Victoria. And yeah, he was just one of these people who couldn't get enough of flying.
Now, fast forward to when he was in the RAAF on the night of the 8th of April 1940. He was in the UK and a special call went out for volunteers for a special mission over Norway. What happened then, and tragically, what happened next?
Yes, he'd been in England flying for Imperial Airways, and when the war broke out he had to join the RAF. And he joined 210 Squadron, which was a flying boat squadron based on the southwest corner of Wales at Pembroke Dock. And on that day a mission was called that they needed volunteers for. It was very quick notice. And Cliff put his hand up and he actually wrote a brief message to his parents and said, well, this something's up, could mean a medal or a box. And he was, once again, you know, he's a guy that always had a joke. And so they flew off to Scotland, and then from Scotland they took off and orders were opened, and it said proceed to Oslo, reconnaissance.
And tragically, they didn't know the Germans had invaded Norway just a very, very short time previously.
That's right. They flew towards Oslo on the 9th of April 1940. Now, that was the day that Germany had invaded Denmark and Norway. And when they flew in over Oslo Airport, which was Fornebu Airport it was called, they expected to see Gloucester Gladiators with Norwegian markings on the tarmac, but instead they just saw a sea of swastikas, and consequently they beat a hasty retreat, but they were pursued by 2 Messerschmitt Bf-110s, and unfortunately they were caught and shot at, and the plane, the big Sunderland flying boat, exploded in the air. And all the crew were killed except one man who fell 3,000 feet without a parachute and survived. He hit trees and snow and was rescued and found about 8 hours later.
Bill Young,
extraordinary story there.
Yeah, extraordinary story, and having watched the DVD, a very personal pilgrimage for you. We really appreciate your time this morning.
Okay, thanks, Michael.